This week on the Analog Circle Podcast, we get a list of PlayStation 4 games that will be upgraded for free on PlayStation 5. Phil Spencer gives a little more clarity on Bethesda games appearing on other platforms. We get an idea of how much external storage could cost on PlayStation 5. Amazon announces their new gaming platform, and me, Keon, I give my first impressions on Mafia Definitive Edition. All of these stories can be found here and a lot more in episode 146 of the Analog Circle Podcast. Once again, I am your host, Keon Mitchell, and I truly want to say welcome. Come on inside. Kick off your shoes, take off your jacket or your hot shirt or whatever you got going on, because it's getting a little chilly outside, and just relax. And I want to thank you guys again for being here to spend a little bit of time with me to go over this gaming culture that we all love so much. Now, before we officially get into the show, if you, the listener out there, yes, you listening right now, if you want to be a part of the podcast, if you want to be a part of the show, you can do it two different ways. Either you can call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard. Or you can email the show, and the email address is, of course, the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. And I'm going to tell you guys this too. If you want to hear some previously recorded episodes of the podcast, just go over to Google, type in the Analog Circle Podcast into there. It'll take you to where you need to go and where you need to be, and enjoy yourself. Now, brothers and sisters, like I alluded to in the introduction, I have been playing Mafia Definitive Edition, and my gosh, wow, just wow! What a great game! Now, for you guys that may remember, this is for like listeners that have been listening for a couple of years now, I had hedged a lot of hopes and dreams on Mafia 3 because the Mafia franchise, we know that it has never hit as hard as maybe a Grand Theft Auto. Definitely not Grand Theft Auto. Good gosh, let's not get crazy. But it has not hit as hard as that. And the funny thing is these two franchises are under Take-Two games. That's insanity. But it hasn't hit those highs like GTA 5 or even when Saints Row actually went on a bit of they kind of had a little something going on over there, Volition. They even got into the mainstream spotlight with Saints Row 3. So when Mafia 3 came out, I said, man, usually they get it together by the third sequel or whatever. That's when the developers, they pretty much hit their stride, and that's when you see them kind of at peak performance. Now, Mafia 3, it was like a hit and miss situation. I was a big fan of Lincoln Clay. Mafia 3 played it all the way through. And the thing that kept me there wasn't so much the gameplay. It wasn't the graphics. Graphics weren't bad, but it was nothing to really write home about. But it was the story. That story of Lincoln Clay, man. It just had some amazing scenes in the story. Like when they were in the well, I don't want to ruin it. You guys might be playing through it now since they kind of repackaged it now. But when he said you can pray on the way up, I was like, that was so gangster. Good gosh. What a way to tell somebody this is your last. And I don't want to ruin it, God dog. I'm about to just spoil the whole joint. But that line right there was classic to me. So, like I said, Mafia 3 didn't quite hit the heights that I hoped it would. But I'm going to tell y'all, let me tell you, Mafia Definitive Edition, Hangar 13, I think these guys got one. This one has been excellent so far through and through. And the graphics, man, the graphics look really good, especially during the cut scenes. It is phenomenal. Well, phenomenal might be reaching a little far, I know, but it's been great. I'll say that it's been solid so far. The gameplay, it's a little spotty. It's not 100% perfect. It's not that, but it's a lot of fun. The missions that I've gone on so far, I love the pacing of the game. Let me start with that. The pacing of this game is very good. It doesn't just throw you into the action. Well, initially you will get thrown into some action, but it's just like the introduction of this guy getting involved in the mafia. I mean, of course, I don't think that's a spoiler. We know that's the name of the game, Mafia. Him getting in there and how it just progresses. It doesn't seem unrealistic. Of course, it's a game. I know it's not realistic, but y'all know what I mean as far as the storyline goes. He's starting out kind of slow. They're showing you the ropes and, kind of taking you around town to these different people that I don't want to spoil too much of it. They're just showing you what you're going to be involved in. And as time goes on, stuff just starts escalating more and more and more. It's just been great. The story has been I ain't going to say phenomenal because I'm not that far in. I'm maybe about 3 hours in, but it's been awesome. The voice acting has been top notch. These guys are so believable in their performances. The main guy, his voice actor, I mean, it's been good. It's been really good. And the crazy thing about this was, I got to shout out Vaughn. Shout out to you, brother. Huge shout out to you. Vaughn was very, very kind enough. This brother, he blessed me, man. He gave me a $25 Xbox gift card a while back, and I've been holding on to it for the right moment. And shockingly, Mafia Definitive Edition, if you guys weren't aware, it's a $40 game. $40. So far, Hangar 13, they might have missed the mark a little bit with Mafia 3, but that story was fire. That's what kept me there. This game, the presentation is better. The character models look amazing, especially in the cutscenes. Like I was just talking about, the voice acting is great. Driving around, it's just a good game, man. And the crazy thing about it, Mafia, you get into too many accidents or you cause too much mayhem. It's not quite like GTA, where you have a couple of times that you can mess around, shoot somebody, you get a 1 star, or you crash into somebody, nothing really happens too much. It's not like that with Mafia. You mess around and hit 2 or 3 people, cops are on you. It's just insane. It's such a good game. I would recommend it. Like I said, I can't give a full review because I'm only 2 to 3 hours in. But the time I've been into it, that time has just been flying by, flying. It's just been such a great experience, and I can't recommend it enough, especially with the price point being $40. And this is not one of those they kind of went in and tinkered with it here and there. No, this is a full rehaul of everything, all of the assets, all of the voice acting, all of the cinematics. Everything has just been overhauled to a degree that if you were a Mafia fan, an original Mafia fan, you will absolutely enjoy this. It has been great. Hangar 13, you might not have got it on the third go around, or that might have been their first time trying to make a crack at it. I'll say Mafia, the Mafia franchise as a whole, might not have hit it out the park with that third one, but this one, being remastered, reworked, even though it is the first one. My gosh, it has breathed a certain amount of life into the franchise as far as I'm concerned. And if any of you guys were on the fence about this game, don't be. It is a great buy, and for $40, I think you will have a heck of a time. It's been great so far. I'll make sure to keep you guys updated as the episodes go by to let you guys know if it continues to stay on the same level that it's been so far. But with that being said, guys, I tell you, I also played, because I started sitting back, that last episode I did when I said I don't have anything to report, I haven't been playing anything, I had to stand back for a second and say, my goodness, Keon, I know we have a good time. You know, I'm doing a podcast. You guys giving me the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys, and thank y'all for tuning in. But it's like, man, I understand that doing the stories, that's fun. Speculating is a lot of fun, and, you know, trying to figure out where the industry is going, who's going to be making certain moves, who's going to get acquisitions, who's not. All of that stuff is fantastic, and I absolutely love it. But at the core, this hobby is about playing the doggone games, and I was not playing much of anything. So I had to reassess, you know, good grief, Keon, wait a minute. You got to get on the sticks, brother. That is what you're supposed to be doing. Yes, talking about the industry, that is my passion, man. I absolutely love it. But you got to get on the sticks, man. So not only was I able to play Mafia over this week, I also got into Mario All-Stars. Woo-wee! Mario All-Star, you talk about taking a brother back to his childhood. I felt like I was in a time machine, man. About 9 years old, playing Super Mario Brothers. Then playing Super Mario Brothers 2. It was just great. Now, Super Mario Brothers, that was a little different. That was a little, spruced up a little bit in Mario All-Stars. But playing Super Mario Brothers 2 that wasn't really Super Mario Brothers, for any of you guys that know, y'all probably do. It was based off of a game in Japan called Doki Doki. I mean, when you played Super Mario Brothers 2, I know I couldn't have been the only one that said, what the heck is this? This is such a far departure of what the original was. I don't even know what the heck I'm playing. And they tried to play it off by having Mario at the end. I'm going to spoil this one, man, because this game is like 30 years old. You guys should already know. But here comes the spoiler. He was actually in the bed sleeping, and it was all a dream, man. Like Biggie, it was all a dream, man. But the game was still good. Went down memory lane with a couple of those. Then I had messed around, played Doom some more. That game continues to be great. I went on and played some Dishonored. I know you guys are starting to get a pattern here. Bethesda, yeah, Bethesda games was kind of heavy this week for me. That game, Dishonored, that is another great game. It's phenomenal. I've been enjoying it. Kind of different for me. The dual, not different, but the dual wielding of a sword or whatever the world she's holding. Very interesting, man. Not a bad game at all. But I want to actually, hold on, man. Let me go back to the Nintendo Switch for a second. They got some bangers in the Nintendo Switch lineup. If you are a online subscriber, I was playing Super Punch-Out. Golly! You talk about just nostalgia at a level that I don't know that you can get on another console. Well, it's going to vary. Your mileage is going to vary. If you are a PlayStation kid, you would be more interested in the PlayStation side. But a Nintendo guy like myself, growing up on Nintendo, seeing games like Super Punch-Out, good gosh, man, I had to jump on that, played a little bit of that, had a great time. And then seeing Donkey Kong Country 1 and Donkey Kong Country 2, oh my gosh, just an amazing library of games on that service. It has been amazing. I haven't been on the Switch in quite a few months. I thought it was dead. That's why I actually ended up playing it. I wound up going on there, because usually when I turn on my TV, the switch, it'll show me that it's still charging, and I didn't get a screen or any charge at the top of it while I was in the cradle. So I was like, wait a minute, man, let me take this out, see what's going on. I hit the power button on it. The screen didn't light up. I said, oh shucks. Oh shoot, wait a minute, what's happening? Start getting concerned, start hitting the power button, unfasten the controls. Tried to hit the button on that, the home button, nothing was happening. But eventually I found out, oh shucks, let me plug it into the wall, because the strip I had, for some reason, the power strip, it wasn't recharging the switch itself. So thankfully I was able to plug it in the wall. It started working again. I tell you, you never miss a thing. You never miss a good thing until it's gone. I tell you, I was on the ropes. I was nervous as all outdoors, because that switch is like one of the original ones that you could mod and all. And I was like, man, I don't want anything to happen to that. Plus it was a gift from my lady, so there was no way I wanted to have anything happen to it. But it was just great, man. Good grief, I have rambled a long time. Good gosh. But I was into some games this week. It felt great to be back active again, playing some games. And I will continue to keep doing that, man, because that is what it's about. The gaming news and all that stuff is great. But, man, you got to get on them sticks, brother. You got to get on the sticks and get some doggone time in. Stay active on them joints. But anyway, like I alluded to just a second ago, let's go ahead and get into what we all come here for, guys. And that is the gaming news that went down. Now, this is just a quick story to get us started. And it's kind of weird, but maybe not. But you can pre-order Halo Infinite at GameStop, Amazon, and Best Buy. Now, if you want to, you can buy the game at Best Buy for an exclusive deal where you can get a Master Chief statue along with a steelbook case for $114.97, not including taxes. But we know that we don't even have a date when Halo is releasing. So far, they've just been saying 2021, but is it going to be in the first quarter of 2021? Is it going to be in the fourth quarter of 2021? Nobody knows, but if you are a eager beaver and you want to get your pre-order in for Halo Infinite, you can do it at those retailers. And if you want that statue, remember, that is a Best Buy exclusive to get the Halo Master Chief statue. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. Oh yeah, with the steel bookcase as well. But let's move on. Let's talk about Spider-Man. Now, Sony gave a statement, and it's a pretty interesting and telling one when it comes to the web slinger. Now, this statement comes from Kotaku, and I quote, they said, Marvel Spider-Man Remastered is an enhanced version of Marvel's Spider-Man and is included as part of Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition for the PlayStation 5. In addition, players who purchase Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales on PlayStation 4 can upgrade at no additional cost to the PlayStation 5 version of Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales and can take advantage of a paid upgrade. My voice doggone kind of eked out right there. A paid upgrade to download Marvel Spider-Man Remastered. There are no plans currently to offer Spider-Man Remastered as a standalone. Players with a copy of Marvel Spider-Man for PlayStation 4 can purchase Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition to experience Marvel Spider-Man Remastered on PlayStation 5. Marvel Spider-Man for PlayStation 4 also will be backwards compatible on PlayStation 5. End of quote. Now that last line talking about the PlayStation 4 version of Spider-Man will be compatible on PlayStation 5. That is true, but just be warned, it will not be the remastered version. It will have the same assets. It will be no ray tracing. It will be no option for 60 frames per second. second. If you guys want those bells and whistles, you have to get the Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition. And the sad part about it is, if you were a guy that said, hey, look, I don't really want the Miles Morales Edition, can I at least start with since this is my first introduction getting into Spider-Man on the PlayStation, can I just start with that remastered copy of the original Spider-Man from PlayStation 4 with all of the assets? Can I just buy that copy alone, that remaster? And the answer is absolutely not. It is being, I hate to say locked behind a paywall, because sometimes people just run with that narrative and they go insane, but I don't know what else to call it. At this point in time, they said it is not going to be available by itself, and if you want that version, you have to get the Miles Morales version, which is going to be $70 for both. But if you want, but the good thing is that if you just want to get the Miles Morales edition, that's going to be $50. So you think about it. For an extra $20, you could be getting the remastered version. And that would be dope. Imagine getting Spider-Man, the PlayStation 4 remastered version on PlayStation 5 for $20. That would be an amazing value to anybody that's just getting into, once again, Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4. So right now, as it stands, like I said, none of this stuff is being piecemealed out. You can get one or the other. Oh, and also, let me point this out too. If you do get Miles Morales, this is dope. If you get Miles Morales on the PlayStation 4, you will be able to upgrade that for free on the PlayStation 5. So, I mean, it's a lot of give and take with this one. Is it good or bad? I don't know. It depends on you as an individual, you know, but a lot of people would have a lot of backlash for this. I would too, because we see only because of what Microsoft is doing. And I don't even know about that anymore. I didn't do any research, man. I'm actually just out here. I don't even know what exactly was said, but it's been some talk about the Xbox Series X not enhancing the games by itself. I don't know if it had to do, maybe it was the S that wouldn't do it and you had to get the X to be able to do it, but it's some murky water with that as well right now, where that was some of the appeal of the Xbox Series X and S, was that your games, your older games, would be upgraded for free automatically. According to Microsoft, it was going to happen without the developer having to do anything. It was just going to do it on its own. But even now, that's a little murky. So who knows what's going to happen with this? Some people are going to be upset. Other people won't care. But yeah, that was basically the breakdown for this. But let's go ahead and let's get into the next story. Now, this next piece of news is not at all, I don't even know if I should even report on this. Like I said, sound like a good idea at the time, but look, listen, this is the short answer. I ain't gonna go through all of this stuff I wrote, but it was three different screenshots that surfaced of Starfield, and it was let me see, the images, they were actually confirmed by a guy named Scalzi over on Twitter. He said that he had a reliable source that had told him that they were real screenshots of an early build of the game. But if you want to see these screenshots, they were nothing at all special. I mean, it was a picture of a spaceship. It was a picture of what appeared to be the main character. And then it was some kind of icon looking, I don't even know what it was. It was some kind of icon looking thing that was in another picture. But if you are interested in looking at the pictures for yourself, it wasn't a lot to really decipher here. But if you're interested, you can go over to Imgur. It's spelled IMGUR. They have some pictures of it over there. Or if you're on Twitter, it's a Twitter user named Okami, 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 who actually has some pictures over there of it as well, if you want to see what the game looks like. But I wouldn't even say it's the game. Like I said, the guy Scalzi, he said that somebody confirmed it was an early build, but we're gamers, man. We get excited for this stuff. We haven't heard anything more about Starfield since 2018. And, it's just an interesting time when it comes to Bethesda and all of those guys over there right now. So people are pretty antsy about getting more information. So, like I said, if you want to check it out, just go over to those two spots and you will find it. Now, let's go ahead and let's jump back into some PlayStation news because people have been wondering, and I just alluded to it earlier, talking about Spider-Man Miles Morales, but people have been wondering which games from PlayStation 4 would get upgraded for free on PlayStation 5, especially, like I said, since you have to pay for that upgraded version of Spider-Man from the PlayStation 4. So this list of games was actually confirmed by Fansided, and these are the games that you will get a free upgrade from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5. It includes Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Borderlands 3, Cyberpunk 2077, that's a huge one, Dead by Daylight, Destiny 2, Dirt 5, Doom Eternal. Imagine that. Don't that hit a little different right now? Thinking about Doom Eternal on the PlayStation brand hits a little different. But Doom Eternal is on there. I think I know what the question of the week is going to be. But Doom Eternal, Far Cry 6, FIFA 21. I believe that's a cross. They called it something, a cross purchase or whatever, but that's on there. FIFA 21, Grand Theft Auto 5. It's nothing new there. That game is 50 years old and it still continues to shine. Good gosh. Hitman 3. It's the digital version only. Horizon Forbidden West, Immortals Phoenix Rising, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Madden NFL 21, Man-Eater, Marvel's Avengers, Spider-Man Miles Morales, of course, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Siege, The Elder Scroll Online, golly, man, good gosh, Elder Scroll Online, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and Watch Dogs Legion. So that's around 22 games that you can expect to get upgraded for free once you get your PlayStation 5. So really not bad. Not a bad list. I mean, it looks like they're trying. Most of these are brand new outside of, Grand Theft Auto 5 and let me see what else. Tom Clancy Rainbow Six and the Elder Scroll Online. Most of these games are pretty new. I mean, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is a little older, but it's not a bad list. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. So I'm sure that as the weeks, months go by, this list will increase. But so far, this is the list of games that will give you that free upgrade from the PlayStation 4 to PS5. Sorry to have repeated myself. Golly. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the Assassin. Good gosh, this guy. The Assassin, man. Mr. Phil Spencer. Good gosh. This man just been shooting off shots, brother. But, this week, of course, man, he made huge headlines after acquiring Bethesda. I was just talking and joking about Doom Eternal and Elder Scroll Online, but he was on CNN. I mean, this guy, he shot just a massive, bam! He just shot up the gaming industry over the week, with this news about them acquiring Bethesda. Now, because of this huge move, many have started to wonder, would PlayStation continue to get those same titles? Well, of course, Phil did say earlier in the week, I'm all tongue-tied, earlier this week, that games would come to other platforms on a case-by-case basis. But since then, Spencer has sat down with Yahoo Finance and said that gamers, quote, should feel this is a huge investment in the experiences they are gonna have in the Xbox ecosystem. He continued to say, and this part right here may be a little telling. He said, quote, we want the Xbox ecosystem to absolutely be the best place to play. And we think game availability is absolutely part of that. End of quote. Now, a lot of people over the week have been saying, well, what if PlayStation 5, because the PlayStation 4 was such a juggernaut, it was the huger brand of the generation. I don't even know if that's a word, huger. Let's just say it was the biggest. It was the biggest brand of this generation, and they sold over 100 million copies. What if PlayStation, they continue to have that momentum moving into this next upcoming generation, and they outsell Xbox 2-1 or 3-1? Do you think that Microsoft is going to leave all of that money on the table when they could be getting their games over on the other platform? Because remember, they have to recoup that $7.5 billion. Now, this is the thing. People, I'm sure people don't forget. We don't forget because we're the hardcore. But some people may forget, it's possible, that it's no longer just Xbox that Microsoft is putting their games on. They're putting their games on Steam, whether we like it or not. I mean, man, you got to lump it or just go with it. You know, lump it or leave, I guess. But they're putting their games on Steam. They're putting them on PC, which is Steam, of course. They're putting them now over on phones. Going to be on Android devices, tablets, and they're also putting them on TVs. People may forget they had that deal with Samsung. It includes a package of Game Pass on the TV. So you have several different places, and the Xbox, as it were. So Microsoft, they have several different places, several markets that they can hit before they even have to worry about PlayStation. Now, this is the caveat to that. We saw how PlayStation, they did it first. They put their games on the TVs, on the Sony TVs, the Bravias or whatever it was, and it didn't really take off. Now, the same thing could happen with Microsoft, is very, very possible, but I wonder how the mobile market is going to be. $10 a month, you're playing games on your phone or you're playing them on your tablet. It's going to be interesting to see what happens because unlike Sony, the PlayStation brand, where you can only play the games on their console, on their system, which is the traditional way to do things. Microsoft, on the other hand, they are more interested in Game Pass, for better or worse. That's where their focus is right now, getting more people into Game Pass. So with that kind of model, they could still eat off of several different platforms before it even hits the PlayStation brand. And like Phil Spencer said, he said, we want the Xbox ecosystem to absolutely be the best place to play. And we think game availability is absolutely part of that. So him talking about game availability, to me, that does kind of hint at we want these games over here. If you want to play these games, we want you to come over here into the Xbox ecosystem so that you can get these games. And I mean, to me, it just makes sense. I understand that Microsoft is being very unconventional here with their method, but them having Xbox Game Pass, 15 million subs in there in less than 6 months. They have already almost not doubled, but they have halfway doubled their numbers, as it were, from 10 million to 15. That is insane in that short of a period. Now, once again, whether or not those people are paying that $10 or $15 a month, or if they got in for $1, that is up in the air and subject to be challenged. But just the fact that they got that many people in there, that is a huge amount of money a year. I think at that rate, I said it was $2.7 billion a year that could be made off of 15 million subs. So imagine if they get more. Once again, none of this is 100% proven if they're going to get people on the mobile market or on the TVs with the Samsung the Samsung TVs or wherever they're going to put Xbox Game Pass. But if they do, I don't know if they have as big of a reason to put their IPs that are very valuable, that will be extremely valuable to them, especially pushing a service. I don't know if they're going to be as apt to put everything, if all, especially not if all, on the PlayStation brand. But we will have to wait and see what happens and what comes of this. But Phil is definitely letting us know that it's important to him that people believe that they come to their ecosystem to get, it's going to be the best place to play. I'll just say that. That's what he said. Being a little long-winded with this one as usual. So let me go ahead and move on. But it's going to be interesting, man. Very, very interesting. By the way, in quick news, that 1 terabyte of storage for the Xbox Series X or S, it will be $220. That was confirmed. And I'm going to tell you this. Good gosh, man. Let me wipe my brow. I'm sweating. Good gosh. If you are a person out there that is just thinking, maybe I can get the Series S, I think that's a good fit for me. If you're thinking about that, now if you're a casual and all you play is Madden, Call of Duty, and 2K, and you're not really venturing off into these gaming waters to pick up all of these other third-party titles, but that's where you pretty much hang your gaming hat, your gamer hat, you'll probably be good with the 512. But if you are a gamer that knows that you're going to amass a library, it is no way you should be even thinking about the S, because it's going to be $300 up front, but then on the tail end, when you need more storage, $220. You have spent $520 on the console when it's all said and done, when you can just go out and get the X. Yes, it's $500. That's a lot of money. God dog, that's a lot. But if you're looking at the long term, that might be the best way to go. And I understand that with that 512 gigs, you'll actually have over a terabyte, like a terabyte and a half. But once the OS gets a hold of that, man, no telling how much you're going to have left on your original hard drive. But if you can afford it, I would definitely say go out and get the X if you can. Trust me, I know that times are hard. Not everybody has it, and I fully respect and understand that. But if you're going to be in it for the long haul and you know that there's a lot of games that you're looking forward to getting in next generation, or just games that you know you're already going to be picking up, it might be for the best to just get that X, only if you can afford it. But also, I wanted to point this out too. Now, I got to shout out my dude. Shout out to you, AB, man, this good brother. We've been having conversations behind the scenes. But he sent me a very interesting article about Samsung's new SSD external that could be used by Sony for the PlayStation 5. And the interesting thing about this is, for a 1 terabyte, based off of the numbers of this Samsung storage SSD, it's saying that you can get that storage for $229.99. So for a possible $10 more, you have your external hard drive for the PlayStation 5. Now, if you guys want to look into this, he actually pointed out that it was from Push Square, where you can look it up. And they were saying that this SSD from Samsung, it looks like this will be the first compatible hard drive with the PlayStation 5. Of course, we know that they don't have anybody like a manufacturer. We know that Microsoft, they're working with Seagate. That's what they have. But Sony at the time, Mark Cerny, he didn't even mention who their manufacturer was going to be. So I'm sure it's just going to be third party. So that is so interesting. Now, this is not confirmed that this is going to be the price for the PlayStation 5's SSD external hard drive, or whatever kind of thing they're going to use. I know at Microsoft, they got the memory looking cards. I don't know what Sony's going to use, but the thing that makes this so interesting is if this does turn out to be true and you can actually get a SSD for the PlayStation 5 for just $10 more, I truly thought that with the kind of technology that Sony is using in this SSD, and at this current time, no PC has that kind of SSD. It's not available on the market. Of course, the Samsung SSD is coming out, so I'm sure things are going to start trickling down here in a little bit. But I truly thought that with those speeds that they were talking about, it was going to be way more expensive than what it is. So just a $10 difference for a SSD performing at the level, allegedly, because nobody's seen it, I guess, well, not for themselves, not just that, but we haven't seen Digital Foundry. They haven't talked about it yet. I know they got the Series X and they said it's time for them to get to work, but we won't know until they actually get their hands on it. I'm not saying Digital Foundry is the end all be all. They're absolutely not, but they're probably more than likely going to be the guys that are going to get their hands on it before most of us are able to. So we'll have to wait and see if it's what Sony is, I guess, advertising it to be. And if it is at those speeds, just $10 more, I would say that is a heck of a good deal. And I know that's crazy. God dog, I gotta, whoa, check myself. I'm talking about that's a pretty good deal. $220 for 1 terabyte of storage is never a good deal. But because we're dealing with new technology, this SSD stuff, and it's new, it's going to take a while for it to go down. But God dog, what a hard pill to swallow. But what are you going to do? If you have a ton of games and you don't feel like re-downloading them and deleting them and all of that stuff, you want to keep them at basically your fingertips, this is what we're going to have to do, man. Gaming it's an expensive hobby, man. People say it's a selfish hobby, and that is so true. But God dog, this hobby is not cheap. Man, let's go ahead and move on. Let's get into some quick news here. Now, it was announced at Tokyo Game Show that Virgil will be a playable character in DMC5 via a paid DLC pack on both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now, producer Matt Walker said, and I quote, "People have been asking to play as Virgil since DMC5 came out, so I'm happy we can finally answer those requests." End of quote. Virgil is a dope character, man. Dante's brother. I'm going to tell you, the first time I hadn't played a DMC, I don't know, man, it's been, good grief, it was forever. I hadn't played a DMC recently until Ninja Theory. Shout out to them. This is when I knew Ninja Theory was great, man. When I played DMC on the Xbox One, that game was fantastic. I said, man, Ninja Theory, you really took it to the house. That was not Capcom on DMC. That was Ninja Theory. And then you get into the fight, having Virgil over there at the, well, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it was great. It was great. So hearing that Virgil, he's going to come, you got to pay for him, but he is coming to the game, to be a playable character. But the only thing was, and I do want to point this out, they did not give a date when he was going to be available. So that DLC could come out between now and the end of the year, or it might come out next year. And I do know, also, before I forget, DMC5, which I still don't understand this announcement. It is coming to the PlayStation 5 and I believe Xbox Series X. And this might have been where he was originally going to be. But, for the guys that own the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, you'll still be able to play him on that version too. Let's go ahead and move on into the next story. Now, this next story is quite interesting because former rock star North president and lead producer of Grand Theft Auto 3 through Grand Theft Auto 5, Leslie Benzies, has secured $42 million to develop his next project. Now, you guys may know Leslie best for suing Take-Two Interactive for $150 million in unpaid royalties back in 2016. You guys may also remember he was on vacation with paid time off, or he was getting paid for his time off to celebrate the success of Grand Theft Auto. I think it was 5 or whatever it was. He was just celebrating Grand Theft Auto's success. But when he returned back to work, he couldn't get back in the building, man. They locked him out. God dog. But they did settle with him back in 2018 out of court. But nonetheless, with a guy of his stature and now being in charge of his own studio, the name of his studio is called Build a Rocket Boy. That's the name of the studio. Interesting. Go ahead and build that rocket, brother. He says, well, no, I'm saying, I said, he said, but, yeah, I'm sure that, he is eager to get out his next project, to compete with rock stars. Now, as it stands, he has a team of over 130 members, including Grand Theft Auto 5 developers, such as programmer Colin Edwistle, lead cinematics animator Felipe Besquez, music director Craig Connor, and audio director Matthew Smith. Now, the name of his next project is going to be called Everywhere, and it will be an open world game. So who knows? As I was reading the article, I forgot which article it was. I don't know if it was PlayStation Square. I don't know if it was IGN. I'm not sure where I got this story from, because y'all know I ain't got no insiders, brother. The only insider I got is Google, my brother. Google and the internet. But I believe that they were saying they were kind of posting it as this guy's next game is going to be going up against Grand Theft Auto. Now, we know that, man, usually when you leave a certain place, it's on bad terms. You feel like they did you dirty. You got a little bit of revenge, a little bit of get back in your heart to get even with the guys that you feel like they did you wrong. So could it be a situation where this guy's going to start gunning for Rockstar with his team? And if that's so, that kind of reminds me of, you guys might know this guy. He's a legend, Don Bluth. He's best known for Dragon's Lair, A Land Before Time, 5-0. This guy had a huge beef with Disney. He felt like the quality of it was going down, and, they weren't producing films up to his snuff, and they outed him. Get out of here, Don Bluth. Don Bluth, he made it a point that whenever Disney made a film, he dropped his film on the same day, just as a little bit of get back. Now, it worked for a little bit of time, but as time went on, man, he couldn't compete. He was working against the Disney machine. How much can you do against Disney with characters? Amazing, iconic characters like, God doggone, Mickey Mouse. What the heck you gonna do? So could it be a situation where he comes out with this game called Everywhere, and he's, laser focused on getting back at Rockstar? Can he pull it off? I will be very interested to see if it's something he can do, because I know with that kind of money, $150 million of unpaid royalties, and you got to settle out of court. I know it's some animosity there. So will he be able to, with his team of 130 people, and having guys from GTA 5, which was phenomenal. Now, that right there, one of my most favorite games. And I know it's technically not a game of this generation. It was technically last generation that game was released. But GTA 5, it came out so long ago, I think people kind of forget. Well, people don't forget. It's in the NPDs every goddamn month. so people aren't forgetting, but that game was just sensational. And just having just a piece of the talent from a game that's that iconic, I'm just curious to see if he can pull it off. Now, whether he will be able to or not is TBD, to be determined. Let's go ahead and move into the next story. Now, this is some more quick news and rumors. Now, if you are enjoying Marvel's Avengers, this may get you a little more excited because it could have been a possible leaked image of War Machine. And this info is coming from Twitter user Miller. It might be a possibility once again that War Machine could be coming. And it was also speculated that this was the case when the beta files actually leaked. So for you guys that are War Machine fans, this could be a possibility in the future. You might see him in Marvel's Avengers. We will see. But let's go ahead and get into the next story. So over the week, The Last of Us 2 Day was celebrated, and during this time, people thought the multiplayer mode would be front and center, because back in 2019, September actually of 2019, the developer did say the multiplayer mode grew beyond, quote, an additional mode that could be included with our enormous single player campaign, end of quote. And that was meant to be fair though. Good gosh. Let me just talk about this for a second. That campaign took me, what did I say, guys? What was it, 30? It was over 30 hours. Let me just say that because I don't want to, say the wrong number. People be like, Keon, what the world is that about? It was over 30 hours that I spent on that campaign, and it was absolutely marvelous. The whole campaign, front to back, it was phenomenal. My game of the generation. But let me continue on. Unfortunately, the multiplayer never revealed itself, but Neil Druckmann did have a few words to say on Twitter. He said, quote, "Thank you to all the wonderful fans for an incredible hashtag The Last of Us Day. Your positivity and love is incredibly inspiring. Oh, and about that other thing, be patient. It'll be worth it." End of quote. So for people that may have been down, people that may have been just very, very upset that it's been over a year, because this is September 2019 that they said this. Here we are in September 2020. It's been a year and there has been nothing revealed or even talked about with the multiplayer. For you guys that might have thought that it might have got scrapped, it might be off the table, Neil Druckmann is saying, once again, be patient. It'll be worth it. And I gotta say, man, hey, listen, man, I'm a level with you. Let me level with y'all. This Last of Us Part 2, man, I have become such a fan of Neil Druckmann and all of the things that he was saying. You don't know, about the story, this, that, and the third. He was combat and everything. When I got into the game, I had no clue. It was deep. It was a pretty heavy story. It was amazing gameplay. It took some turns that I didn't see. It was everything and a lot more to me than I was expecting. I have never done a 2-hour podcast. I don't think I have. And me and Vaughn just sat up there over 2 hours talking about The Last of Us Part 2. That's how much and himself, he enjoyed it as well. We just loved the game. It did not, well, I mean, look, it's subject. Anybody can say how they feel about a game, and they can give a game whatever score they want. But to me, that was just amazing. So for anybody that was looking for this, fear not. I guess it's still in the works. Just got to be patient. Man, I was way too long-winded with that. But let's go ahead and get into the next story. Now, this story it's pretty it's wild. It's actually really wild because according to a European newsletter, a 18 PEGI rating was given to Final Fantasy 16, meaning that here in the States, that would mean the game would be a M-rated game. It would be a mature Final Fantasy game. Now, I do want to point this out. To be fair, it is technically a provisional rating, but if it retains that rating, it would be the first Final Fantasy game to carry that rating since Final Fantasy Type O HD. I remember I bought Type O HD. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, and you guys out there, please correct me if I'm wrong, because sometimes I'm just wrong. But with that game, didn't they give you a free demo of Final Fantasy 15 that was included in that? They kind of did the what was it? The Crackdown kind of method where, you bought Crackdown and you got the beta for Halo 3, I believe it was, the multiplayer. They caught me. I haven't bought a Final Fantasy. Well, at that time, I hadn't bought one in years. And I said, good grief, this Final Fantasy 15 is real time. It's no longer turn-based. I got to check that out. I bought it. I think I bought it at Best Buy. It was like $20. And I loved that demo of Final Fantasy 15. No, I didn't open it. It's still in the wrapper. Y'all already know the routine, brother. Ain't nothing changed yet. But I hope to get to it eventually. But I'm just saying that to say, I never even played Final Fantasy Type O or Type 0 HD. I have no idea what the game was about. Did it even warrant a M rating? Were they like using crazy language in it, or was it, blood or just crazy violence? I mean, what the world? I have never known a Final Fantasy game, and could agree, they taught me something. I had the game and I didn't even know it was an M rating. I just always take it that Final Fantasy games are just gonna be teen. That's what they've been forever. So what the world is going on with Final Fantasy 16? Are they going on a dark path? Are they gonna be using suggestive language? What do you guys think is gonna happen? I don't know. It's not a big story. I'm not going to talk about it too much. But what do you guys think that would entail for a Final Fantasy game to be M-rated? Huh? Interesting. But let's go ahead, guys, and let's get into, I believe this is the final story for the week. So this next story is definitely something we have heard of for a while, but now it's coming to fruition. Amazon has just announced their streaming game service called Amazon Luna. Now, with this service, Amazon is saying you will be able to access games instantly through its web channels. Now, at the moment, it doesn't have a launch date, but it will reportedly be available via the firm's Fire TV plug-in. The firm's Fire, sorry about that, TV plug-in sticks and cubes, PC, Mac, and Android devices. Now, if you live in the States, you can request early access for a trial for $5.99 a month. Now, here is the statement from Amazon, and I quote, "No waiting for lengthy downloads or updates, just play." End of quote. Now this is kind of dope. Now, I don't know how far it's going to take them, but they're showing signs of really trying to be in it because they have publishing deals with Ubisoft and Remedy Entertainment. Now, the interesting thing about this service is, it looks like it will literally be broken into channels. Like the Ubisoft channel will just have Ubisoft titles, etc. And that is a little different. Can you imagine that? Now, I don't have all of the details on this. It wasn't a lot really available for me to really look up, but the way they were describing it, let's just say Remedy Entertainment has a channel, just like I was talking about with Ubisoft. That would mean Control would be in there, possibly what's the other game they did? Alan, I don't know if Alan Wake is going to be on that. I don't know. But let's just say Control and, what was the last game they had, that I'm forgetting the name of, that I really enjoyed? Quantum Break. Quantum Break might be in there. You go over to Capcom, you might get Street Fighter, you might get I don't know, the Capcom beat 'em up pack or whatever. But it seems like that's interesting. Everything not being all in together. Now I could be 1,000,000,000% wrong about the format of everything, and if I am, somebody please call me out, because I'm always wrong most of the time, but if they are making it that way where it's going to be divided into different publishers, that sounds really cool, man. Being able to just say, look, I'm looking for, I don't know, since they have them, let me make it convenient for myself. They have, I'm looking for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Oh yeah, I'll just go over to the Ubisoft channel and bam, it's right there. That could be really nice. And at $6 a month, no downloading, updates or downloading the game, just streaming it. This is huge, man. Now I'm not going to say huge. I kind of throw that around myself a little too much, but it could possibly be something with substance. How about we say that? Something with substance to it, if they can really pull this off, because it looks like they're basically doing what Stadia's doing, but they're at least coming out the gate with two big publishers on their side. Ubisoft, of course, being the bigger of the two. So will this fly or not? That is to be seen. But I think that this is telling as well, because it looks like Microsoft, they might have saw this coming. They see things coming years down the road. They knew that Amazon was jumping in. They knew that Google was jumping into the gaming space, and they're just trying to hold the line for themselves. So I'm sure that those two huge conglomerates, those companies worth billions upon billions of dollars, they got the same war chest as Microsoft to go out there and get top tier talent too. So I'm sure Microsoft said, look, man, we got to get Bethesda up out of here. We got to buy these guys, because these other two, Amazon and Google, they could do the same thing. So let's try to beat them to the punch. And they did. So it's going to be so interesting to me too, to see with those two being, as Microsoft has said, they're direct competitors. Will they actually put their games on their services in the future? It'll be very, very interesting, guys. Also, just to let you know too, that this service, they do have their own controller. It actually looks like an Xbox controller. They're going to be selling that for $40. But anyway, guys, that is the end of the gaming news this week, which leads us into, of course, the final section of the podcast. And it leads me to ask you guys a question. And I'm sure you guys saw it already. Of course you saw it. But I'm going to just go ahead and say it again officially. Will Bethesda games remain on PlayStation? Now, I want to point this out. As I was saying earlier, they have a lot of different places they can go with it. Mobile, different, their own service, TVs. But I do want to point something out that I found over on Xbox Era. Now, this is coming from Bethesda's founder. Let me see if I can get his direct quote. His name is, he was, the founder of Bethesda, Christopher Weaver. He left the company, it seems like it's been about a decade ago, but I want to try to get his quote for you guys. He said, let me see. Okay. And I can't find it. He says, basically, I wanted to read the quote because I didn't want to put words in the man's mouth, but he was saying that the games, they cannot come to the PlayStation brand. It would not be in their best interest. Let me see. He says, I do not think it's any accident that, and this is his quote, I do not think it is an accident that this announcement occurred so closely to Sony's PlayStation 5 announcement. There are only a limited number of proven creators of AAA what Microsoft owns. Sony cannot get. End of quote. So he's basically saying that, look, Microsoft, you got these AAAs, you got Bethesda in your back pocket. Sony cannot get these IPs. It is in your best interest if you don't do this. Now, of course, this is coming from a guy who's been out of the company 10 years now. His word, it really doesn't hold any weight when it comes to Microsoft, but him being on that opposite side, knowing that it's only a certain amount of a proven AAA talent out there, and having Microsoft have one of those bigger houses that have been proven to make AAA games. Of course, you can say Bethesda, yeah, they've had their ups and downs. We can be honest about that for sure. But the games that they have, they are undeniable. These games have, good grief, long legs that have been around, some since the 80s, being Wolfenstein. So, with all of the information that we have, this quote didn't come off as strong as I thought it was. I'm be honest with y'all. God, dog. It didn't hit like I thought it was going to hit. But anyway, that is my question to you guys, man. Just disregard that whole thing. Golly. That's so embarrassing. I couldn't even find the quote right away, bubbling and stumbling. Man, oh man. But anyway, that's the question to you guys this week. Will Bethesda games remain on PlayStation? If you want to be a part of the next episode, you can do it two different ways. Once again, either call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. I was your host, Keon Mitchell, and good gosh, man, I'm over here sweating the river, man. Whoa, hey, man, but that's all right. I'm good. Take me a drink of water and I'll be all right. But I'm about to get ready to get to work because, good grief, it is after 9. I got to be out of here in about 2.5 hours. Oh, gosh, say a prayer for me. Anyway, let me get on out of here, guys. But before we officially wrap it up, always remember, it is not about the consoles. It is about the games. So until next week, or we might do something this week when we do it again, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.